Hey everyone, Cell here. Back with another League update. I have still been playing since my last video and going quite hard actually. So let's get into it, I guess. A lot to cover. I've mostly done a lot of the magic farming typical kind of strategy, and that involves getting a lot of sextants. I've used more sextants this league than I've probably even gotten in the last 4 leagues. So yeah, it's pretty insane. Quite a handful of divines as well. I just used like 20 something earlier, maybe 30. And I've used over 100 in addition to that, like just over 100, I believe. So yeah, same deal with exalts, annulments, etc. I'm up to 14 sacred orbs, which is mind-blowing. And yeah, I've got a ton of miscellaneous sextants here, but something I ended up noticing was I had a lot of enraged strongbox sextants. So why don't I just blow those on some Crimson Temple maps and get some apothecary cards or rare cards along the way, see what happens. If I don't finish a full set, but I have one couple to gamble, then I could end up doing that. Like I said in my original video where I talked about how I got a Mageblood in Standard, I said I probably wouldn't do the grind again because it was pretty painful. Well, this league, the access to scarabs in particular has been amazing. I've used more wing scarabs, again, probably than I've had in total the entire last 4 leagues put together. Same with sextants. So today's Wednesday. On Saturday, so 4 days ago, went in, got an apothecary card super early. Said, you know what, I may gamble it. It's a 20% chance, if you do one card at a time, that you will make it to 5 from 1, and an 80% chance that you will bust somewhere along the way. Well, I'm like, alright, let me dump the rest of my enraged strongbox sextants, and then I ended up getting 2 in one map. So I said, okay, I'm at 3 out of 5. I might as well just commit to doing it. Sunday, got my 4th card. And then it's been a pretty grueling 3 days. I finished sooner than expected. But here we are, 5 out of 5 on the apothecary. If you want my Atlas strategy, this is the general tree. Again, very similar to the setup people are using for Wandering Path, Abyss farming in Jungle Valley, I think is the primary map people run these days. And yeah, basically just beyond Abyss and Strongboxes here, with the idea that most of the cards would come from the Strongbox mobs, which they didn't, in fact. 3 of the ones I remember, I think one of them came from a card I know for sure, or a box I know for sure. 3 of them came from non-Strongbox enemies, and 1 I don't remember. So no duplications or anything. When I said the 2 in one map earlier, those are 2 separate drops, which was mind-blowing. So yeah, and I did run Crimson Temple for a while. I ended up switching to Crimson Township because my Strongbox Sextant started to run low. So I needed to do a more general strategy that incorporated more enemies so I could do some Blue Wisp restoration of my Sextant stack. You can see the stacks of everything else here. I started filtering out a lot more stuff. No more like Regrets, Scourings, Alks have been out for a long time. No more Regals, Augs, Alterations. I'm actually low on Alterations, so I need to probably make a filter just for Alterations and do more of that if I need to alt spam for something, which I think I might, based on some stuff I feel like I might want to do. But yeah, I switched to Crimson Township. It's a pretty good map, especially compared to Crimson Temple for Abyss. There are there are enough open areas that you can get the big spire projectile mortar things landing in good places, and it has room to actually fire them. So that turned out to be a lot better. I only switched to this for my last card within the last few days, basically, because everything else came so quickly. But yeah, trade this in here for the video, see what the rolls are, and oh, I got the perfect 4 flask Mageblood. May divine it yet, depending on my needs in terms of the stats or whatnot. Anyways, I also got a Headhunter. This was, I had a feeling this would happen. This was in the middle of the card farming. I think before I got the 4th card, I got a Headhunter, and I had a feeling that was going to happen just because that's how my luck goes a lot of the time. Of course, I'd get a second Headhunter before I finish off the Mageblood because it's less likely. And I double corrupted it. I had a short clip I recorded for that, but might as well just show it here, I guess. Yeah, cast speed, determination effect, not super huge. And the other tier 0 I've gotten, which brings me up to 4 total, is Voltaxic Rift. I thought this was a tier 1, actually, which is why I was surprised I hadn't seen one. Considering the number of spine bows I had seen, unique spine bows, the other of which being Reach of the Council. But upon learning that it was tier 0, makes a lot of sense, but glad to have it. So with Mageblood, I have 5 total tier 0s this league. 4 unique ones, if that makes sense, because I have 2 Headhunters. So yeah. In terms of the overall character situation setup, I guess. I don't know what I was going for there. Very similar to, well, I haven't changed it in a very long time, is what I'm getting at. I'm using the physical bow. I'm not convinced this is the right move. I feel like an elemental bow would have been better, but I kind of felt like using the phys bow that I crafted. It hasn't been like obscenely bad based on what I've seen of Manny stream. He's using an elemental bow, but otherwise basically the same build. His damage is a little better than mine. I think he just is set up better tree-wise and a little bit gear-wise as well. So yeah, I wasn't unhappy with it. I can roll some footage now, though, to show a little bit about that, but just wanted to scan over the tree. I'll put the POB down in the description as well, of course. So yeah, slight flash warning, might be a little bright or flashy here. I'm sure if you play the game, you might be used to that, but thought I'd throw it out there just in case. Of what this kind of looks like. This is, again, Crimson Township. This was the map I got my last card from. Went back in to record this footage specifically since I didn't really have any footage of me running the strategy. You can pretty reliably get to the boss fairly early if you don't mind a bit of a walk. You can always see where the boss spawns from where you start the map because the portal entrance is right under the bridge that leads to the boss. So from there, you know generally which wall you need to hug in order to get to him. So that's the strategy I went with. Again, other than that, pretty typical kind of blending of the normal Beyond and Abyss setup with the Strongbox nodes. There aren't that many Strongbox nodes, so it's pretty easy to slot in there, and you could take them out and, you know, spec out of a couple of Abyss things if you need to, or map sustain, because you really don't need it. I have an insane number of Crimson Temple, Jungle Valley, and Crimson Township maps now because I was over-sustaining so hard. I was averaging, not exaggerating here, something like 20 maps per one, and some of the maps just didn't drop very many maps because of the nature of how I ran them and what was on them. And then some maps dropped an absolutely ridiculous number of maps. Unfortunately, for the most part, I didn't get very many 8-mod corrupted map sextants until the end of my grind. So I was manually rolling and corrupting my maps. I was running out of chisels, so I had to stop using chisels basically. And then after I switched to Crimson Township, my plan was to roll for 2 projectiles, and I did this for a handful of maps. Roll for 2 projectiles and use that in my refueling strategy where I focus on blue wisps. And that worked out better than corrupted mods for sure. So don't underestimate the 2 projectiles. I would say, personally, in my experience, I find it more worthwhile to roll for 2 projectiles on an Abyss strategy, focusing on the Spire projectiles, of course, than focusing on 8 mod corrupted maps. Compare for a 4 mod map, the difference is going to be more noticeable. I have so many exalts now that I just rolled 4 projectiles and then exalted up to 6 mods. I had a regex in there when I was rolling for projectiles to make sure I didn't have any mods that I didn't want. And then I would look at the batch pretty carefully. If any had 5 mods, I would exalt those. Otherwise, I would exalt 2 mods onto it and call it a day. Yeah, this league has been insanely fun. Definitely been good to shout out Headhunter for the first time. The drops have been insane. Now I feel like I'm a little... I wouldn't say I'm burnt out of the farming. I could use a break to do some other stuff, though. And I did have some breaks before I started the big ol' apothecary grind. Experimenting with some other characters that I didn't end up liking as much. I have like a level 68 witch that I leveled because I didn't really like the skill. It was a minion build, and I already played SRS to level 95. So, yeah, I just didn't really feel like playing it that much, I guess. But I'll probably reroll that to something, and I'm very curious to see how leveling with a Mageblood feels. So, I am kind of ready for it, because I think you can equip it at level 44 and then just go nuts. Expect a video about that soon whenever I start coming out with my next build, and I'm hoping to go off the rails a little bit. I played, generally speaking, quite a lot of meta builds because I'm more of a power gamer than a novelty gamer. But now I'm going to see if I can do both. Try to come up with something novel on my own. I'm an impossible mix of like a power gamer / hipster. I want to play good stuff, but I want to play good stuff that isn't popular, so oftentimes that involves coming up with something new. So I'm going to see if I can do just that with some of the new skills. Anyways, that's been my league update. Sorry for not posting too much. I'm hoping now that I have gotten a major grind done, I can focus a little more on content creation, and I'm hoping to step it up a notch a little. Maybe not so much in my thumbnail game, but in my the content of my videos. So, anyways, if you've listened to this ramble for this long, much appreciated, and I always thank you for watching. Hope it was entertaining in some way, and I'll catch you next time. Peace. Oh, and give me your favorite build of the league down in the comments. Something like that. I don't know, I'm looking for inspiration here. If you have anything that will push me in a direction, I'm open to it for sure. Thanks.